Welcome to my live Q&A. I am live on TikTok. If you guys are seeing this, you're seeing this, the replay on YouTube. So let's see what questions the people have for us today. What should we talk about today? Welcome to all the people joining. I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, questions about your natal charts. So feel free to comment below. Hi, Choco Clairs, how are you doing? Welcome to everyone joining. Do you guys have any questions about your natal charts, astrology, metaphysics, the whole 9 yards? Sun opposite Lilith, any thoughts? Yes, you could potentially have certain shadow traits that you might not be aware of that are like holding you back. You know, maybe holding you back from expressing your true self, your identity, because Lilith deals with the shadows, the sun deals with your ego. So it's kind of like this friction energy is taking place when you have the opposition. Welcome to all the people joining. I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, questions about your natal charts. Feel free to comment below. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the shares. Lilith and Virgo. Yep. So you kind of have to see what is the dark side of Virgo. That's going to be your quote unquote dark side. That's what Lilith is. So you can kind of look at it as your shadow traits that you may or may not be aware that you have. So you have to look at the shadows of Lilith. Hello, LOL. How are you? Welcome to all the people joining. I'm going in order. If you guys have questions, feel free to comment below. So Lilith and Virgo, what are Virgo shadows? Virgo tends to be perfectionist. They tend to procrastinate because they're perfecting something. Sometimes Virgo might feel like they're not good enough. That's why they're kind of like spending this time perfecting something. They might be fearing criticism, and then in turn, they could also be critical of others. They could fill everyone else's cup at first and not their own. So they might fill everyone else's cup first and not their own. That's a huge shadow that Virgo might have. Welcome. Cancer moons, and your parents had that placement. It was very insightful. Yay, I'm glad that it resonated. Definitely check out my YouTube channel, you guys. It's called Barbara Talks. Sun in Libra, Lilith in Aries. You can pull up at people sometimes. Okay, the funniest thing about Libra is like Libra energy sometimes has repressed anger, because it's like they tend to bounce off of the oppositional energy of Aries. And it's like Libra wants to make everyone happy. And sometimes it can come off as like passive aggressive sometimes with Libra energy, or sometimes they can explode. That's the thing that people like, I guess, don't know about Libras. It's like they can also be explosive, because it's like it pulls out of the Aries energy, where it's like Aries is kind of learning how to manage that. They might be more aware of it, but Libra's not, right? So that could be something that takes place. Welcome to all the people joining. I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, questions about your natal chart, so feel free to comment below. It's nice that they're both Cancer moons, because it's very much like a heart-to-heart connection, you know? This is for Madeline. Definitely you have Libra, Mars, Mercury, and Sun. Libra poster child here. Yeah, and with Libra, it's like, because they're very like likable and like fun and like la la la, you know, like they kind of take on that identity. So the whole anger thing is kind of like something that's like, what's the word? Like disowned within themselves. You know what I mean? Capricorn first house, what will Pluto retrograde do? Yes, he'll go through some changes for or within your identity, okay? So anytime, you guys, there's any transit that's taking place, you want to see what house do you have that sign in, okay? So Pluto's going back into Capricorn and it's going retrograde. Personally, I feel like it's going to be hardcore and intense. This is just my opinion, because this is just psychically coming through. But sometimes I feel like retrograde almost feels like a repressed energy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, is this like eruption? So you want to see what house do you have Capricorn in your natal chart. That is the house that Pluto is going to be transforming for you for the rest of this year, until we officially move into Pluto in Aquarius in 2024. Thank you for the likes, you guys. Welcome to all the people joining. Feel free to comment below. I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, questions about your natal charts, the whole 9 yards. I am Bagel, the lover. Capricorn, Sun in the 10th house. Wow, that is a lot of like ambition, you know? Sun in the 10th house can be a fame placement. Obviously, it depends on the rest of your natal chart. but it is like a success placement because it's like, it's your public image and this is kind of what you're putting out there into the world. Astrology says, but your Libra placements ruled by a Venus and Scorpio in the 6th house. 6th house placements can be mean. Yes, 6th house can be hardcore overall because it's like you're dealing with that Virgo energy. And I don't know if you were in here earlier when I was talking about Lilith and Virgo, but it's like the shadow of Virgo can be like perfectionist, constantly like perfecting something, trying to perfect it and never putting it out there. Things like this. That's the struggle with Virgo energy. And it's always connected to not feeling good enough. Okay. It's the solar plexus chakra. Welcome to all the people joining. I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, questions about your natal charts. Feel free to comment below. LOL, Capricorn Sun, 10th, Aquarius Moon, 11th, and Aries 1st is your big 3, by the way. Wow. That is a lot of ambition, drive. You're going to be different, especially because of the Aquarius Moon and then the Aries 1st house. I'm guessing you're in Aries rising. Yeah, I find that Aries rising are here to start some sort of new cycle for themselves, but also for the overall family line. That's something that I've noticed with them. On a soul level, they're starting a new cycle, but also within the family line. Yes, you're an Aries rising. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Super ambitious. You're probably going to want to be like a manager or something of that sort. Aries rising can sometimes be interested in athletics as well. My suggestion for Aries energy though, you guys, is like do something that involves like exercise and like intensity exercise where it's like you're burning a lot of energy. Because I've noticed with Aries energy, it's like if they have an excess of energy, which they always do because it's fire, right? But if they have an excess of energy, they might struggle to sleep in the nighttime and they can go too much into overthinking because it deals with the head, Aries. Jupiter in the 3rd house in Leo. So that's going to be how you communicate if it's spanning this area for you. You could be super, super intellectual. You could also be super, super good with your words because Jupiter is expanding that area for you. You could be interested in being creative. You could be interested in the written or the spoken word, social media. All these things could potentially make you money. Leo's going to want to be seen. So Jupiter in Leo needs to be expressed creatively. Some sort of stage, you know, where it's like either you're being theatrical or you're acting or it is entrepreneurship, anything of the sort. Jupiter is expanding that area for you. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Choco Claire says, do you think use the gems that is compatible with your zodiac sign will help? Can you please reword your question? So this is for I Am Bagel the Lover. You always feel like you're an outcast. You do love dancing. You also have Leo in your 5th house. That's very nice. Yes. Leo in the 5th house. You could also have very creative children as well if you do choose to have children with Leo in the 5th house. Pacho says Jupiter in the 2nd house in Pisces. It's also your chart ruler. So money is going to be the name of the game for you. Jupiter in the 2nd house is one of the wealth placements. Jupiter in Pisces is very nice in here. It's expanding anything to do with art, creativity, film, theater, metaphysics, the metaphysical world. Through all these things, you could potentially make money. But my recommendation for the 2nd house always is when you're making money, you'll make more money. So you want to make sure that you're constantly making money. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all the people joining. Jupiter in the 1st house in Aries. For the people joining, let me know if you guys have any questions about your natal charts. Feel free to comment below. So Jupiter in the 1st house in Aries. Okay, so for you, it's again through the self. So you can literally make money through anything to do with the self, okay, or the physical body. So it can be something like construction, for example, or working in a job where you walk or stand, something like retail, okay, or maybe you're like a teacher for kids, something of the sort, or something in athletics where you're running or dancing, these types of things, okay? It can also be through the self as well. Obviously, it depends on the rest of the natal chart, but it can maybe be something like modeling. Again, it's through the self. It's through you doing something, expressing something. It's the 1st house. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all the people joining. I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, questions about your natal charts, a whole 9 yards. Wearing gem that is compatible with the zodiac sign. Oh, I understand. Does it have any impact? Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. That's very interesting. You just unlocked a memory for me. I always used to love gemstones, like the one that symbolized your birthday when I was a kid. That's very, very interesting. Venus is 9th in Sagittarius. So For you, you can meet your lover abroad. You can meet lovers overall abroad. You could have lovers that are abroad. You could also have friends that are abroad. You could have friends that are international or friends that are just from different backgrounds. Or if it's where you're living and maybe you can't travel for whatever reason, then maybe you're doing something like you're a tour guide and you're meeting people this way that are from abroad coming to you. That is Venus in the 9th house. Your partner might be a different background than you. Maybe they have a different religious background than you. With Venus in the 9th, maybe one of you is going to be religious. The other one's going to be spiritual. That's Venus in the 9th house. But overall, you'll see this in all of your friendships, romantic partnerships. You'll see it in your maybe business partnerships, all interpersonal relationships, Venus in the 9th and in Sagittarius. Now, what's interesting with Venus in Sag, these people are known to be the bachelors or the bachelorettes of the zodiac. So it's not that they're going to be single forever. As soon as people hear that, they're like, oh my gosh, am I doomed? No, it just means that they crave freedom on an emotional level. So they need to basically be free. So if they attract a partner that's like overly clingy, they're not going to be interested in this person. Welcome to all the people joining. I am answering astrology questions and going in order. Libra, Mercury, Trine, Neptune, Aquarius. Yes, any Neptunian placements, any Neptunian like aspects are going to be psychic aspects, absolutely. Gemini, Venus in the 12th house. Gemini, Venus in the 12th house. Yes, there's going to be a lot of lovers, okay, that maybe come through your life that you're clearing karma with. If it's not lovers, it's going to be a lot of friends, a lot of just people that you meet. That's Venus in the 12th. You're karmically clearing karma with people. What I've noticed, and somebody actually asked me this on one of my lives, and I was thinking about it, and it's really interesting because they asked me, I was talking about secondary progressions. So in astrology, you go through secondary progressions. It depends where your degrees are in terms of the planets, because all planets move differently. They all move at different speeds. So Venus, approximately every 25 years, is going to change in your natal chart. So Venus is going to go out of the 12th and it's going to go into the 1st. So that individual was asking me, they were like, when Venus goes into the 1st, does that mean you're going to become better looking for that phase of your life? And it's interesting because the more that I think about it, it just makes sense. I've seen people who have Venus in the 12th house later on in life. They are very attractive overall. It's just like an attractive type of aura. So very, very interesting. And you also might start to care more about your looks. Now, Venus in the 12th, there's a lot of karma that's being cleared, okay? So what's interesting is also for the progression out of Venus in the 12th into Venus in the 1st, you might kind of go through a lot of karma that you're clearing with your partners, or it just might be intense, or there might be a lot of dreaming when it comes to your relationships. And then by the time it progresses into the 1st, you might kind of be like, I want to be independent now. I want to do my own thing. I'm going to focus on me. There could be like a lot of enmeshment that takes place. Should you use secondary progressions with transits? Is it accurate? I like to look at everything. So it's really up to you to see what resonates most. Honestly, I would look at personally, like look at the overall natal chart with your birth chart, with the transits. Yes. But you can also look at the secondary progressions to see what's going on. What does it mean to have the houses in chronological order? I just find it like more smoother energetically. I'm curious to know if you have any retrograde planets, because I've noticed a lot of Aries risings don't have retrograde planets, like an abundance of them. It's really interesting. I've noticed sometimes it really depends on the overall natal chart, but I've noticed that maybe that's just a coincidence, but I've noticed from at least the Aries risings that I've seen their natal chart, they don't have a lot of retrogrades because it's almost like they're starting some sort of new cycle. And a lot of the time retrograde is something that you haven't learned in a past life. So let me know if you have a lot of retrogrades in your natal chart. And by a lot, I mean 3 or more. That's what I consider a lot. Let's see. Can you see if you are reincarnated based on your placement? That's a good question. I see it more so psychically, intuitively. I'm not sure if you can see that through astrology. In astrology, you can look at the moon sign can sometimes tell you your past lives. The 12th house can sometimes tell you your past lives. And the South Node can also tell you your past lives as well. Neptune in the 1st house in Capricorn. So Fatos, you're going to be someone who is very like alluring. People are going to just want to watch you. You might attract a lot of stalkers into your life. So something to just keep in mind. You also might have a lot of illusions when it comes to your personality and just yourself as a person, right? You might not see yourself clearly. Neptune in the 1st house people can sometimes detach from the body. So sometimes they can go into like the spiritual chakras, the crown chakras, and they detach from the body. So they might not see themselves clearly. Overall, there's always some sort of illusion around the self, around your personality. Maybe you underestimate yourself. Maybe you feel like people don't get you. But overall, the vibe you're putting out there is going to be Piscean, okay? Neptune in the first house gives you the undertone of having a Pisces rising, okay? So anytime you have anything in the first, it gives you the undertone of that rising. It doesn't mean you're that rising sign now. It just means that you take on the undertone energy of that rising. So you take on the undertone energy of Pisces rising when you have Neptune in the first. So you're going to be alluring to people, magnetic, dreamy. There could be something dreamy about you. A lot of reality TV stars have Neptune in the first. Sometimes it's people who become like known for like not really anything, you know, because it's like people just want to watch them. They're just like interesting to watch. That is Neptune in the first house. And then Neptune in Capricorn. So, okay, this is really interesting because we have the outer planets, right? Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Those are the generational planets. So Pluto is going to be the overall generation, and then you kind of start going inwards and it starts to reduce in terms of the amount of years that it covers. Okay, so Pluto is the biggest, right? So it's going to be the overall generation. And then you have Neptune, and then you have Uranus, and then it kind of keeps going on, right? So Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are the overall generation. So the particular sign in there affects the entire generation. So having Neptune in Capricorn, that's a subset of the millennial generation. These individuals basically don't see the area of their career clearly, okay? So a lot of them are the ones that got labeled as like entitled millennials when they came into the workforce, because Capricorn deals with your work, jobs, authority, these types of things. They might not see authority clearly. They might not get along with authority, these types of things, because Neptune is blurring that part of the sign for that part of the generation. So that's Neptune in Capricorn. Amongst many, many other things, definitely check out my YouTube channel. It's called Barbara Talks. I have a video on there. It is called Neptune. It's like natal Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn. And I think I called it the leaders of tomorrow. What else are you guys seeing in here? Venus opposite Pluto. You might have tension when it comes to women. There might be tension in your relationships. A lot of your relationships could be Plutonian, and you might have this like push-pull within when it comes to power and control. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Welcome to all the people joining. I'm answering astrology questions, metaphysical questions, and questions about your natal charts. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. Mercury in Capricorn, you're going to be very direct in your speech. Capricorn does not waste time. Clear, concise, and to the point. That's Capricorn. You could even be blunt. And you might be interested in just business, right? Talking about business. How can we be efficient? You know, because that's the thing. Capricorn deals with time. Capricorn a lot of the time feels like time gets wasted. So when it comes to even speaking, because that's what Mercury deals with, you don't want to waste time. So you're not going to be the type of person that's like, yeah, but this, yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, like let's get to the point, you know, spit it out. That's Mercury in Capricorn. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? You don't know if you have planets retrograde. Yes, you can see in your natal chart, there's going to be a little R that's beside that particular planet. Now, North Node, South Node are always going to be retrograde. Uranus and Neptune in the 11th house in Aquarius. So Aquarius is going to be the overall generation. This particular generation might have like a unique expression when it comes to freedom, and they might not see this area clearly at the same time with Uranus conjuncting Neptune in Aquarius. Now, the 11th house, when it comes to the 11th house, so for the generational planets, the houses might affect you more because the generational sign in there is going to affect the whole generation. The house is going to pertain more so to you, okay? So Uranus in the 11th house, you're going to have very unique ideas, okay? You could be very much like connected to the other side. You could be very much all about the metaphysical planes, even the ideas in terms of like futurism, apps, all these types of things, okay? But then at the same time, the struggle is now Neptune is also blurring this area for you. You might not see this area clearly at the same time. So you might not see the area clearly of like humanitarian issues and philanthropy, or you might find yourself dreaming about it a lot of the time, you know, going out of body. Oh my gosh, I want to save the world. And, you know, I want to do this type of animal activism, and I want to do that type of movement or whatever it is. That's Neptune in the 11th house. It's kind of blurring that area for you. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. So Dominic says, maybe a weird question, but can a 4th house Mars in Gemini add feminine qualities? I'm going to say yes, because it's interesting because in astrology, the air signs fall under masculine, but I find them to be feminine just because of the way that they operate on this earth plane. So Mars and Gemini, yes, because it can kind of be like, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to do this, I want to do that when it comes to motivation. It's not like direct, right? Mars comes to your inner masculine energy. The fourth house Mars could be a struggle because it gives the undertone of like that Cancerian energy. And fourth house Mars, I'm curious to know what you have in your IC, because it's like the fourth house is always affecting your 10th house. So it's like now it's opposing your career, okay? So when it comes to your career, which is your 10th house, you might struggle because it's like you might feel lethargic, for example, or you might kind of suppress a lot, you know, these types of things. So yes, if we look at energy, you could very likely possess more feminine energy. You said, LOL, you're right. Sometimes you have an idea, but you can't see clearly. Yeah, Neptune basically blurs whatever area it's in. But what I will say to you guys is wherever you guys have Neptune in your natal chart, you kind of want to look at it like this is where you potentially have the superpower in, because Neptune is all about the psychic realms, right? So you're like dreaming and daydreaming. So what you want to do is basically figure out how to ground your dreams into this reality, how to basically take these dreams that you have and actually act on them. Because Neptune spends so much time dreaming about it. Oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And if it's like this and it's like that, that's Neptune. But you want to figure out how to pair the action along with the dream, right? Because if you just dream about it, it's not going to come true. It won't. You have to put an action along with the dream. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Vertex. Yes, I have videos on Vertex on my YouTube channel. So Vertex basically is a more so recent discovery in astrology. So basically what Vertex means is like they're fated events. And they say that these fated events change the course of our lives forever. So to see and understand what Vertex means is you want to look at the house. The house is going to tell you the person or the group of people you're going to experience the fated event through. The sign is going to be what that fated event might be. So the 8th house is going to be maybe through your therapist, maybe through an astrologer, maybe through a bank advisor, a financial advisor, maybe through your spouse, okay? So you experience some sort of fated event through that person. Libra is going to be what kind of event it might be. So it's going to be a Libra-like event, okay? So let's say you go to the bank and the financial advisor tells you, oh my gosh, we have this promotion. If you want to start your business, you can get this loan. Boom. You are able to get a loan because the 8th house kind of deals with other people's money, loans, these types of things. And then the Libra-like thing can maybe be you start your makeup business, for example, or you start a makeup brand or whatever it is. So that's the idea. Obviously, there's so many ways that this energy can manifest. Personally, when I tap into Vertex, it feels very energetically foreign to me. In astrology, it's a newer discovery, and I feel like a lot of people maybe haven't attached their energy to it yet. So maybe that's why it feels foreign. But yeah, so kind of take it with a grain of salt. You don't have to sit down and like worry and be like, oh my God, what's my fated event going to be? And like worry about it all the time. Just kind of take it with a grain of salt. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Venus in Scorpio squaring Jupiter in Leo. You might kind of have this like friction when it comes to going after your money and these types of things. Venus in Scorpio is good for making money though, I will say that much. You'll notice a lot of people who are wealthy, like in the public eye, have Venus in Scorpio because Scorpio likes nice things. But the struggle with Venus and Scorpio is they might want fast money. So that's something that Venus and Scorpio might have to integrate. Now, Jupiter in Leo, for whatever reason, what I'm psychically picking up on for you is kind of like a friction between the masculine and the feminine energy within. That's what I'm picking up on, where it's like maybe the feminine's kind of like, oh, you know, we can just like sit around and it'll manifest. And then maybe the masculine was like, okay, let's go, like let's act on it. So something like this. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. What does it mean to have an intercepted house in your natal chart? Yes, okay. You guys, so intercepted signs, planets, and houses. I have a whole video on this on my natal chart, but I will try to explain it in the simplest of terms, okay? So basically what that means is when you look at your chart, this is in the Placidus system. You're going to have 2 signs that occupy 4 houses, and then you're going to have 2 other signs that technically don't belong to a house. They're missing, okay, from the houses, okay? The energy is sandwiched. It is swallowed up in the natal chart. So for example, let's make it simple. Let's say you have Aries occupying the 1st and the 2nd house, and then you have Libra occupying the 7th and the 8th house, okay? Let's say in this natal chart, you are missing Taurus and you're missing Scorpio, okay? It doesn't have a house. So then what you guys want to do is you want to see what house would that energy technically belong to, and to understand that, you want to look at the sign that's preceding Taurus and preceding Scorpio and what house is in there, and that is the house that particular sign would belong to. So in this example, we have Aries in the first house, Aries in the second house, Libra in the seventh, and Libra in the eighth house. Okay, preceding Taurus is Aries. What house is Aries in? The second house. So Taurus in the second house is intercepted technically. Then you want to do the same thing with Scorpio. Okay, what is preceding Scorpio? Libra. What house is Libra in? Okay, the first one that's going to show you, that's right above it, okay? It's going to be the eighth house. So Scorpio in the eighth house is now intercepted. So this energy is now swallowed up. A lot of the time I've noticed when people have interceptions in their natal chart, they're also going to have planets intercepted as well. And something that I've noticed has been a theme has been things like the North Node, which is the destiny, things like maybe, usually it's that one, it's the North Node, okay? Usually whatever is kind of like their overall life purpose, I've noticed with people's natal charts, tends to be intercepted. Why is this? They have to work a little harder to pull this energy out. So in this example where Scorpio and Taurus are intercepted, same with the second and the eighth house, what does this mean? Well, it can mean a lot of things. Maybe this individual, when they were growing up, there wasn't a lot of conversations about money. Maybe there wasn't a lot of conversations about sexuality when it comes to Scorpio. Maybe they struggle with personal finances. Maybe they struggle with other people's money. These types of things, okay? And it's now swallowed up and you might have to work harder to pull the energy out. Nothing to worry about. The thing is, in the beginning, the energy might come out at strange times because when you suppress something, and it's not even like it's on purpose. Sometimes there wasn't space for it. Sometimes the caregivers weren't, aware of it, or it wasn't just something that they've grown up with. Maybe they weren't familiar with it. They didn't talk about it. These types of things, okay? So there's a lot of reasons why the energy might be intercepted in your natal chart, okay? So that is the overall idea. Obviously, it's going to mean different things for different signs and houses. And then you want to look at the planet. The planet's also going to be intercepted, which also means now that energy is intercepted. So let's say you have Moon and Scorpio in the eighth house. This energy is now suppressed. So in this natal chart, maybe this individual is now here to master money and become an alchemist and, learn how to manifest left, right, and center. And they have the ability because they have Moon and Scorpio in the eighth, but it's suppressed. They might have to work harder to express that. So I hope that makes sense. Is it true that we are supposed to embody the characteristics? Yes. Okay, so for North Node, you guys can look at the North Node this way, okay? They basically say that once we complete the life purpose, which is the North Node, we cross out of the Earth plane. So you can look at it as something that you are constantly working toward. The South Node is pulling you in the direction where you have come from, okay? Something that you've already mastered, it's comfort, okay? It's something that's also carried over from a past life. You're not meant to be mastering the South Node. You want to focus on the North Node. So yes, in a way, you can look at it as like, I'm working toward this. So that is the North Node in a natal chart. And to understand it, you want to look at the South Node to understand where you have come from in a past life.